That Mississippi River Sushi is pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
Radioactive.
Missouri, what is good? It is a delight to be here, to be back in your state, to be back in your city. Give yourself a round of applause for making it out to the show tonight. I am delighted to be here. I'm delighted to be back. Who was here when I came here a couple of years ago to St. Louis for a Potterless show? All right, sweet. Yeah, Johnny's mom. Nice, great. Oh no, I've spoiled who the guest is. But I'm very excited for a lot of different reasons. One, I get to eat a bunch of St. Louis food. Yes, toasted ravioli is on the menu for post-show. Then, I'm also excited because the chapters we're covering today, super fun. Super duper duper fun. But speaking of super duper fun, we have a very super duper fun guest, and that is another reason why I'm very excited for the show tonight. So please make some noise for tonight's guest, St. Louis's own Johnny Frohlichstein! Hello, thank you. How's it going?
Awfully far away. Am I just supposed to stand here the whole time?
Yeah, we'll do the whole show like this. We're actually feuding.
Yeah, it's nice that the whole audience is just my extended family, everyone here, except for you.
All the Frohlichsteins are here.
Yeah, exactly. No, just one.
Which St. Louis food are you most excited to eat now that you're back in St. Louis?
Emos, obviously. Come on. Did you grow up here? Oh, that's cute. Wait, sorry, did you grow up here? Oh, that's cute.
Oh, wait, yeah, cheese person here. Okay. Enough of razzing Johnny for his bad pizza.
I'm not claiming that it's cheese, for what it's worth. It's a separate category of thing.
Yeah, the correct approach with emos, which for anyone unfamiliar or anyone listening after the fact, is this very, I guess, legally pizza from a local chain that you gave me about like an hour of coaching being like, it's not pizza, it's not pizza. It's not pizza.
It's like a different food. Don't compare it to pizza. It's a saltine with ketchup and plastic, and it's delicious.
When you properly put your expectations in the gutter, yeah, it's great. To be fair, we're probably going to get some after the show as well, and I'll have to reassess. But, I completely understand a nostalgic food that is more about the hometown. Just like how you cut your bagels here weird, right?
No, that's not a thing. It's not a thing. It's a thing at the St. Louis Bread Company, a.k.a. Panera, and that's it.
Do the Paneras here, are they rebranded to Panera?
Yeah.
Or did they?
No. They're St. Louis Bread Company.
Do they still say it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
It's like one of the 4 cool things about being here. I'm allowed to dunk on it. No one else is.
Well, we're here to talk about 2.5-ish chapters of The Mark of Athena. We last left the episode that I had just recorded with Sherry where we got like part of the way through chapter 31. So where we last left our heroes, they just defeated Chrysaor and made the ship sink with all of the Dr. Pepper and everything of it all. And I feel a little bad for the folks here on stage because that part was so fun, but Sherry did call dibs on like that specific part of chapter 31 like a year ago. So I couldn't, while I was reading, I couldn't be like, oh, this would be really fun to do on stage. But I can't be like, hey, Sherry, I know you asked me something 365 days ago, and you also edit the podcast really well. However, what if people in the live audience got to laugh? No, so it's a cool part. But then I read the next 2 chapters after. You guys got some good stuff too, so I'm super excited about it.
And actually, Sherry's hit no.
No, she is not. But she was the last time we were in St. Louis.
That's right.
She came through to the show, and that was super fun. That was the first show she ever went to. Look at all of the time traveling we've done. We are here now. So let's pick up where our heroes left off, which is they've defeated Chrysaor, and now they're deciding that they're going to fly all the way to Rome the rest of the way because ocean stuff didn't go too well previously.
It's kind of giving Gandalf, Lord of the Rings, fly you fools. Could have done that the whole time.
Well, look, if you talk to Kelly, and I've heard her have this conversation with other people, I'm not well-versed enough in Lord of the Rings to give the full explanation.
We should do a podcast about that.
Got a lot of list. No, so Kelly has given the explanation of like why they're not actually able to take the Eagles the whole time. Like there's like a legitimate reason of like, no. You can't just have done it. And if you want to hear that explanation, join the Patreon and then go to Kelly's Trials of Apollo book club corner and ask her about it. And then she'll incessantly ramble about it.
Sounds like a healthy dose of copium.
She's got a whole thing about it, and I respect her. Jason promises that he's rested enough to do sentry duty alongside Coach Hedge, who is ready to kill anything. He screams, "Die!" every time there's the slightest bit of turbulence, and I think that would be kind of fun on a flight. If you hit turbulence and someone a couple rows back just goes, "Die!" I think it'd be pretty good.
Do you think they'd land the plane if you did that for like a 3-hour flight?
You would have to yell it enough times. I wonder what the threshold is, but it would have to happen more than just
But
once.
if it happened enough times, they would have to like.
I think so. It's a violent enough word where I think eventually they'd be like, all right, bud, we're going to have to calm you down. It was fun on my flight here today when we were getting close towards landing. They had mentioned like, oh, there might be some turbulence, maybe not. But as we get closer to the landing, there won't be any. And there really wasn't a lot of turbulence. And then they do the thing where they're like, oh, yeah, we're beginning our descent, blah, 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 put up the tray tables or whatever. And they're getting all ready. The flight attendants are coming through and picking up the trash and stuff. And then just like really abrupt turbulence out of nowhere, like really shaky, dropped a little, turned, whatever, and went back. And I think they had like just put on the like it's okay if your seatbelt isn't buckled sign, and then they did that, and then you just hear the bing bong like right after, and like the whole plane laughed. It was pretty great. Where they're like, hey, everything's good now, guys. Bing bong. Terrifying. So they're on sentry duty now, and Jason tells Percy to get some rest before daybreak. Percy has trouble sleeping when he gets back to his cabin, and he is still embarrassed by how much better Chrysaor was at swordplay as compared to him. And he knows that Chrysaor could have killed him. He only kept him alive because he had orders to do so. So he's embarrassed. He regrets that he wasn't able to fend this dude off.
Can't be the best at everything, Perce. Sorry.
No, you're going to have your weaknesses. It's okay. Can't do it all. Can't do it all. Now, narrator Percy also thinks about how as he gets older, he feels more pressure as a hero because he thinks more and more people are looking up to him. Quote, but Percy didn't feel powerful. The more heroic stuff he did, the more he realized how limited he was. He felt like a fraud. I'm not as great as you think, he wanted to warn his friends. His failures, like tonight, seemed to prove it. Maybe that's why he had started to fear suffocation. It wasn't so much drowning in the earth or the sea, but the feeling that he was sinking into too many expectations, literally getting in over his head. And I love this turn from Percy.
No, this is like when famous people, like very famous people, are like, I still feel like an imposter, and they're in their $100 million Beverly Hills mansion. Like, at some point, you don't feel like an imposter anymore. I still feel like an imposter.
I don't know. I think for Percy, I get it because so many things are just like thrown at his way, and he's just kind of doing whatever he can to think about it. Just like basically the hero version of throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I think that it's legit for him to have the feeling of I'm not as great as you think, because as the narrator, we know there's so many times where he's like, I don't know if this will work, and then it does. So I can understand him having a little bit of imposter syndrome.
No, you're right. It's fair. If he wins the Academy Award for Best Actor, then we can talk again about this.
I also might be sympathizing with him as someone who certainly has imposter syndrome, and 1,000% when people say, shower praises or whatever, I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, I'm just a boy who had a podcast, blah, blah, blah. Like, I feel the kinship there. It takes like certain things for me to not have imposter syndrome. Like, it has to be like more factual. Like in softball, when people, like when in that game we were playing recently, Johnny's on the team now, it's fantastic. When there was the game we were playing and the other team had the fast person, and then Joanna was like, oh yeah, Mike, you should race this guy at the end. My initial thought was like, I'm faster than him, why would I bother racing him?
Like, he wasn't that fast.
I don't need to prove
he wasn't
this.
that fast.
Not as fast as me. No, it wasn't even a question. Like, why would I waste the energy? Anyway, Percy says, quote, as the narrator, wow, when he started having thoughts like that, he knew he'd been spending too much time with Annabeth. which is very funny. But I do like this like new version of Percy, like a more introspective, deeper in thought Percy Jackson. I think it's
still a wife guy.
Yes, at the end of the day, still like, wow, isn't she so great? I never would have thought of this without her. But also I see that because my wife's really smart and I think about things differently because of her too. Percy thinks to how Athena told him that his fatal flaw was loyalty and not being able to see the big picture because he wants to save all of his friends and he would risk the world being taken over if it meant he could go in and try and save one of his friends. Now, at the time Athena said this to him, he thought this wasn't a bad thing. This is one of those like, oh, my greatest weakness is a strength. I try too hard. I care too much. But now he thinks about how his instinct is to throw himself at any foe. But what if he's not up to the task? Percy is fine with letting people help, like Jason taking the helm, but he's uncomfortable with relying on someone else for protection because they could get hurt because of him. And a prime example is Sally putting up with Smelly Gabe for years and years just to try and give Percy a better situation. Then he thinks about Grover doing similar things, protecting Percy for a year before Percy even knew what was going on, who Grover really was. My main question here is, where's Grover? 2.5 books. Where are you? Come on, man. We're
Doing searcher stuff, obviously. Whatever that means.
I know.
They found him. They already found him. They don't need. There's no more searching, right?
I know. I don't know. I need him. I really hope he comes back. I miss my boy. I love Grover. And I know because I was reading part of this on the plane via an ebook, which gives you like the percentage read. And at the page, I was like 53% of the way through the Mark of Athena. I'm like, we're past, I guess I don't know how many pages books 4 and 5 are, but like we're halfway through the midpoint book. Where is Grover? This is too much. We're getting into territory of more not Grover than Grover in a series. And I don't like that.
On the other hand, been way too long since we got a Smelly Gabe reference, so shouts to that.
That's true. It was nice to have the old aroma back in there. Percy recognizes that he isn't a kid anymore, and he wants to be responsible for himself. But he wonders now if he's really going to let Annabeth off on her own to face all sorts of danger.
Isn't he like 16 at this point? 17?
I think.
I'm 31 and definitely still a kid.
That's something that I realize, especially like now as a dad, I'm still just a kid. I just also have a kid. It's one of these things where I feel like when I was in kindergarten and we would get chaperoned by like the 4th graders in the school hallways, I'd be like, oh, wow, they're so big. And then you're in 4th grade, you're like, they're not big. The 8th graders, they're so big. And then you're like, oh, high schoolers, they're so big. And the college kids. And then like people in their 20s, or when I met someone in their 30s, I was like, oh my God, this guy's 32.
He's so big.
He's so big. But even now, it's just like, nah, man, no one knows what they're doing. No one knows what they're doing. Everyone's just a different level of kid.
40-year-olds are huge.
Man, yeah, they're so big. Percy recognizes that he's not a kid anymore. He wonders if he's really going to let Annabeth go off on her own. As the narrator, he says, quote, if it came to a choice, save Annabeth or let the quest succeed, could Percy really choose the quest? He's having at least like a healthy view of himself. Like he is not clouded in recognizing like, I might have some faults here. And I think that's very admirable.
Man would fail the trolley problem so hard though, right?
I think everyone fails the trolley problem. It's like not meant to be succeeded.
But like it would be like, you know, save 100,000 people or the whole world, right? 7 billion people or 5.
Or Annabeth.
Yeah, or his girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know there's like no like correct answer to the trolley problem. Like it's meant to just be impossible, but at some point. But well, the thing it makes me think of is I took a class at Rice. It was contemporary moral issues. It was a philosophy course, and it was basically just like
new name for the pod.
Contemporary moral issues. It was a great class, and you basically just like learned about key like hot button issues. Some things like super serious, like the death penalty, to some things lower stakes, like should we have to tip waiters or not? And then they would like have the thing. We would read a bunch of stuff from different philosophers and what they had said about it, and then each week would be a different thing. And then like one of the days in class was like, this is where the whole class would have a discussion. And there was this one guy in the class who was a complete jerk, and he would always take this like approach of just like having no humanity at all. And when we got to the trolley problem stuff, the teacher was like, all right, it's your mom on the tracks, so Carol's on the tracks, or 5 random people. Yeah, it was. Yeah, in class they were like, it's Johnny Frohlichstein's mom.
yeah.
It was like, it's your mom on the tracks or 5 random people. And this dude raised his hand and was like, well, obviously you choose to run over your mom. Like, it's 5 versus 1. And I just rose my hand. I was like, you're just going to run over your mom that quickly? Like, sure, if you arrive at that, but like, instantly? Come on, man.
No-brainer.
And this was like the end
Not
of
a no-brainer, mother.
This was at the end of the semester, right? And I had enough of this guy's guff. And I was just like, come on, get out of here. Percy finally is tired enough to sleep, so he dreams. And the thunder becomes the laughter of Gia. He's on the big house's front porch in this dream, and Gia's sleeping face is on Half-Blood Hill, which is very scary. And Gia, who, as I've been saying on the podcast, I'm trying to get better at my Yzma / Madame Zeroni voice, because I want Gia's voice to be that. So Gia goes, so this is your home. Take a last look, Percy Jackson. You should have returned here. At least then you could have died with your comrades when the Romans invade. Now your blood will be spilled far from home on the ancient stones, and I will rise.
And then you'll carry Gia up the mountain.
Or to save on postage. Yeah. Shout out to Ertha Kitt, a legend. The ground shakes. Thalia's tree erupts into fire. The grass turns to sand. The forest turns to dust. The rivers and lake dry up. The cabins in the big house burn to ash. And I wrote, oh, wait, is Percy okay? He was on the porch. And then the next line is, the only thing left was the porch where Percy stood. Dust swirls into the form of a woman, and narrator Percy describes her as, quote, her eyes were closed as if she was sleepwalking. Her robes were forest green, dappled with gold and white like sunlight shifting through branches. Her hair was as black as tilled soil. Her face was beautiful, but even with a dreamy smile on her lips, she seemed cold and distant. Percy got the feeling she could watch demigods die or cities burn, and that smile wouldn't waver.
So, kind of sounds like Madame Zeroni.
I feel like Ertha Kitt could be cast as Gia.
and they say that Camp Half-Blood looked like a wasteland after an atomic blast. Headcanon. Camp Half-Blood became Camp Green Lake.
Whoa, it's just holes. Yes. This is exactly
Prequel
what I
series,
want.
baby.
This is exactly what I want. As a big holes boy, this is exactly what I want. Shout out to the person who works for the publishing company that does Louis Sachar's books, because I just got sent a copy of his new first book that's not a kid's book, and they sent it to me just because I talk about liking him a lot. So you too one day can maybe get sent free stuff if you keep talking about how much you like it. Gia says when she takes over, she will leave this place barren forever to serve as a reminder. She tells Percy it doesn't matter when he falls or who he falls to, because eventually he will fall, and she will be there to, quote, devour him. She says his only choice now is to die alone or with company. She tells him to come to her willingly with Annabeth, and maybe she will spare this place. Otherwise, and the narrator Percy describes, quote, Gia opened her eyes. They swirled in green and black, as deep as the crust of the earth. Gia saw everything. Her patience was infinite. She was slow to wake, but once she arose, her power was unstoppable. Oh, I thought you were going to say something all dramatic. You looked off into the middle distance.
No, I was thinking about, like, in the Percy Jackson universe, who would be Mr. Sir and Dr. Pendansky and the whole gang, you know?
I thought you were thinking about Emo's Pizza because they said crust. Percy's...
No, Emos doesn't have that.
You're right. Percy's skin crawls and his hands go numb, and he looks down and sees that he too is turning to dust, just like monsters do after he slays them. And then Gia goes, enjoy Tartarus, my little pawn. And then Percy jolts awake, classic Percy waking up from a dream move, and he awakes to the loud clanging of landing gear.
Percy's definitely graduated from pawn status, to be clear. He's at least a knight for a castle.
Yeah, I think so. What would he be? Did you just call a rook a castle?
I was trying to, you know.
We're not just in any city, Johnny.
Yeah.
We're in, what did the billboard?
The home of the Chess Hall of Fame / National Chess Museum.
Yeah, but we're in chess capital USA. Plan your visit at stlchesscampus.org for the World Chess Hall of Fame in St. Louis, Missouri, home of the St. Louis Chess Club.
And I called it a castle. Ugh. Embarrassing. I was playing chess backstage and I called it a castle.
You won a chess match for someone with a higher ELO rating than you backstage.
That's why I'm so amped right now.
Is it the caffeine? No, it's winning. Just look, man, the amount of adrenaline that would be coursing through my veins when I was on the quest to get my puzzle rating on chess.com to 2000, and I was so close to it, and you would have like a good one where I never did the paid one, so it would just get 5 a day. And if I had like progress, because they get really hard when you're close to 2000. Oh, when I finally surpassed 2000 in April of 2021 and then never did another puzzle on chess.com again because I don't want to lose my 2000 perfect rating, my heart was buzzing. It was beating out of my chest.
Now when you die, you can enter like Valhalla. You know, you've like made it as a human.
Yeah, St. Peter's like doing my things, and you go, oh, a 2000 plus
Write this later.
chess.com puzzles rating. You can go to the deluxe section.
Or what's the in the underworld, the good
Elysium?
one? Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, me and you were going through, and it's like, what are your puzzles? The two of you come here to Elysium, where we have chessboards all the time. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So Jason, with an excited look, is there to wake Percy. His face looks less bruised and stuff, and he informs them that they are descending on Rome, and Percy's going to want to see the view. And I love Percy and Jason just being bros. It makes me so excited. I really wanted that to be a thing. They had their weird, we're going to compete with each other thing. That seems to be gone. And now they're just two dudes being dudes, and I love it. What's better than guys being dudes? Come on, love it. Narrator Percy says, quote, Percy had seen big cities before. He was from New York after all, but the sheer vastness of Rome grabbed him by the throat and made it hard to breathe. The city seemed to have no regard for the limits of geography. It spread through hills and valleys, jumped over the Tiber with dozens of bridges, and just kept sprawling to the horizon. Streets and alleys zigzagged with no rhyme or reason through quilts of neighborhoods. Glass office buildings stood next to excavation sites. A cathedral stood next to a line of Roman columns, which stood next to a modern soccer stadium. In some neighborhoods, old stucco villas with red tiled roofs crowded the cobblestone streets so that if Percy concentrated just on those areas, he could imagine he was back in ancient times. Everywhere he looked, there were wide piazzas and traffic-clogged streets, parks cut across the city with a crazy collection of palm trees, pines, junipers, and olive trees, as if Rome couldn't decide what part of the world it belonged to. Or maybe it just believed all the world still belonged to Rome.
Takes off sunglasses.
Dude, Uncle Rick was cooking. I started typing this, paraphrasing it, and then I was like, I think I just have to put the whole thing. It's such a banger description and a very apt description of Rome. Have you been to Rome?
I have.
I think it's very accurate.
But in terms of how cities look from the air, it's kind of how every city looks from the air.
Yeah.
Like you can fly into like Cedar Rapids, and like as far as the eye can see, there are just lights and homes and buildings.
As far as the eye can see,
Dur Rapids. Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
I guess the main thing he's talking about here, especially if he's a New York boy, is that from a certain vantage point in New York, like you can see the grid system, and there is certainly no grid system in
true.
Rome. So I think that is probably something that's very shocking to him. I also could see for Percy, because I don't know if he's been to any other, I mean, he's been to other cities. Oh, wow. I would just dunk on every other place he's been to in the books. But no other city that he's been to was like as city of a city as New York. And it's like, he didn't go to Chicago. He hasn't gone to any international places aside from, he didn't go to Canada. So like, I think he hasn't seen a lot of big name cities.
Didn't he go to Canada very, very briefly in 2 on the Alaska border?
Oh,
so
in the Son of
Neptune.
Did he go? He was there when they all went across for a little bit.
So.
It wasn't just Frank like, what up, homie? Yeah, okay. But yeah, I mean, like he hasn't seen a lot of major cities. So I think for him, it's partially just like the stark contrast to New York. So maybe if he saw other European cities, he would have a similar thought. But I think for him, it's just so different from the Big Apple.
I just can't believe how hard I actually'd you on. Actually, he was in Canada for 10 seconds. I'm sorry.
You're good. In my defense, I only read that book once. So Percy thinks that it's like the city knew that Gia was just taunting him about taking over, and the city saying, "You want to dissolve this city, dirtface? Give it a shot." Narrator Percy says, quote, "In other words, it was the coach hedge of mortal cities, only taller." Leo points out the park that they're going to park in, and he says that he hopes that the mist disguises them as, quote, "a large pigeon or something," which brought me much joy. Percy wishes that Thalia was still here, as she was great at bending the mist in her image. Was this something that she did in the books? If so, I've completely forgotten about it.
So I read this,
someone said yes.
but I don't remember that.
Okay.
It's in Titan's Curse when they're at school before they meet Bianca and they like snaps her fingers.
You're right. That is a thing in Titan's Curse at the awkward dance. You're right. You're totally right. And the TV show has started filming. And from the one picture they showed, it looks like they're filming the awkward dance scene. I am so excited about it. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. If I get to do big distinguished member of the press boy stuff for season 3, I will only be asking questions about the awkward middle school dance scene. How'd you pick the DJ? How'd you pick the playlist? How'd you pick the lights? How'd you pick the orientation? I'm going to be, oh man, I'm so stoked. Percy wishes Thalia was here for this. He admits that he was never good at the mist bending. He usually just thought, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me, don't look at me, which would be very silly in this particular situation. But whatever's happening, it's working. Cars are not crashing with drivers rubbernecking, looking at some giant ship ascending. They're not screaming, aliens. Narrator Percy says, quote, the noise of traffic was all around them, but the park itself was peaceful and deserted. To their left, a green lawn sloped toward a line of woods, an old villa nestled in the shade of some weird-looking pine trees with thin, curvy trunks that shot up 30 or 40 feet, then sprouted into puffy canopies. They reminded Percy of trees in those Dr. Seuss books his mom used to read him when he was little. There's also a long...
Wait. Favorite Dr. Seuss book? Go.
Ooh, favorite one as a kid, I loved the Butter Battle book because I was really into the Cold War.
Wait. Excuse me? I've never heard of any of this.
You've not heard of the Butter Battle book?
No, I've not heard of the Butter Battle book.
The Butter Battle book is a story of
Seuss-less.
It's a grandfather who's a member of a group of people called the Ukes, and there's a wall that divides them from a rival group of people called the Zooks. And the Ukes, like normal civilized people, eat toast with the butter side up. But those dirty Zooks eat toast with the butter side down, which does sound unhinged. But Kelly has described it to me because she doesn't necessarily rest it on the plate with the butter side down, but sometimes she will take a bite with either like the butter side down or the jelly side down or something like that, because then your tongue gets whatever topping you're putting on the bread. So she came to the Zook's defense. And then basically it's a story where like it starts where they just like didn't like each other, and then one guy would have like a slingshot, and then they would come back with like a slingshot catcher, and then it's just like a back and forth of like big weapon, bigger weapon, bigger weapon, bigger weapon, bigger weapon, and then like atomic bomb analogy. So it's like very much a Cold War thing. As an 8-year-old, I just thought the gizmos and gadgets were cool, and I thought that the story was fun. It wasn't until later when I think I was like in high school, maybe learning about the Cold War, and I think my teacher was like, yeah, so if you ever read the Butter Battle book as a kid, you know, you're already well caught up on this. And I remember being like, what? The book about toast? But it's pretty good. Is it actually my favorite one though? Probably not.
Well, what I'm hearing is that the Ukes were butter side up on their toast, and the
Yes.
Zooks were for centrally planned economies and seizing the means of production.
As far as like story-based ones, I really enjoy The Lorax. I think it's great. It hurts my feelings that it was written in like 1976 and is still wildly relevant to this
More
day.
relevant, yeah.
Sucks. But one that is very fun to read is Fox on Socks, because it's one of the like Dr. Seuss tongue twister books. And specifically when it gets to the like beetle battle bottle part, I'm like really good at it. And I feel very cool when I'm like reading it to my daughter. I'm like, beetle battle, beetle battle, beetle battle. It's fun stuff. What about you? What's your favorite Dr. Seuss book?
Star-bellied Sneetches, hands down. They had stars upon thars, and there was like a whole caste system with the star-bellied Sneetches versus the non-star-bellied Sneetches.
I've never heard of this one.
Yeah, because you didn't read children's books growing up. There was like this colony of Sneetches, obviously, and then Sylvester McMonkey McScrooge or something comes along with his star belly printing machine, and some of the Sneetches get stars on their bellies, and then they like are of a higher caste, and it's really dark.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. The other one I need to check out, my brother-in-law, his favorite one is it's something about
Something with green eggs and
no. Well, I googled Dr. Seuss hat book, and it was like the Cat in the Hat, but it's like one where someone like he has to keep taking off hats.
The 500 hats of Bartholomew Cubbins.
The 500 hats of Bartholomew Cubbins. Thank you very much. The 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins. It's something where it's like you're not allowed to wear a hat, and then he takes a hat off, but he's another hat under the hat, and then he keeps getting in trouble because he keeps having hats under the hats. I'd never heard of it, but when I was talking about this with my brother-in-law, he was like, "Oh yeah, my favorite Dr. Seuss book is The 500 Hats of Bartholomew Cubbins," and I was like, "What?" So yeah, that dude wrote a lot of books.
Good doctor.
Good doctor. Anyway, back to another guy who wrote a lot of books, Rick Riordan. Percy Jackson. So there's a long brick wall to their right with notches for archers. The top of the Colosseum can be seen above rooftops to the north.
Wait, not just for archers. Crenellated ramparts.
Crenellated ramparts, baby. They're back. And I wonder what park this is. So Italian podcast listeners, email me with which park you think this is. Percy's legs begin to shake as it sets in that he's really here. They're really in Rome. They're really doing this. He's in enemy territory for a Greek demigod. And, quote, in a way, this place had shaped his life as much as New York. I disagree. I don't think so.
Not even close.
No, like...
In no way.
Maybe Athens, but like Rome? I don't know, man. Nah, New York, he's such a New Yorker. The amount of trash talk he does to think that he is not a New Yorker. But the Italians trash talk too. Maybe. I'll have to give him more thought. Jason points to a point of the Archer wall where stairs lead down to a tunnel, and Jason thinks that he knows where they are. The tomb of the Scipios. And Percy goes, "You mean Reina's Pegasus?" And Annabeth explains that they were a noble Roman family. Percy can see that everyone is in awe of Rome as much as he is. Hazel asks what's the plan, as they only have until sunset to save Nico. Percy asks Annabeth if she found the precise location on the map, and then Annabeth, her eyes go all dark, giving him a "don't tell anyone about my dream, dude" look. And she says, yes, it's on the Tiber. And then the book says the following: "I think I can find it, but I should take me along," Percy finished. "Yeah, you're right." Annabeth glared daggers at him. "That's not safe," he supplied. "One demigod walking through Rome alone, I'll go with you as far as the Tiber. We can use that letter of introduction, hopefully meet the river god Tiberinus. Maybe he can give you some help or advice. Then you can go alone from there." I love it.
It's so cute how they finish each other's dinners.
Sandwiches.
Oh.
That's what I was going to say. Shout out to our friendship forming when we watched Frozen. And in the point in the movie when they say, "What's the shoe size?" And they go, "It doesn't matter." Johnny and I at the same time said, "Yes, it does." And then we locked eyes and we were friends forever. They have a staring contest with each other, and Percy thinks back to Sally's advice when he first started dating Annabeth, that it's nice to walk your date to the door. Barb told me this one as well. He thinks that surely it must be good etiquette to walk her to the start of her, quote, epic solo death quest, so he plans on doing so. Annabeth gives in and asks Hazel if she can pinpoint Nico's exact location, and then Hazel says that she's not feeling anything yet, but she hopes that she will if she walks around town. So she invites Frank to walk around Rome with her, which I think is very cute and sweet. Frank is elated, but then Hazel invites Leo also and justifies it by recalling the fish centaur, saying that there is going to be some sort of mechanical thing to handle. Leo accepts the invite, and the narrator Percy says, quote, "Frank's smile turned into something more like Chrysaor's mask." So he's less than pleased.
Hazel, read the room. You gotta read the room here.
Gotta read the room. I don't know. She's in a weird spot, but yeah, come on, dude. Narrator Percy admits that he's not a genius when it comes to relationships, but even he can sense the weird vibes that are going on here. Quote, "Ever since they'd gotten knocked into the Atlantic, they hadn't acted quite the same. It wasn't just the two guys competing for Hazel. It was like the three of them were locked together, acting out some kind of murder mystery, but they hadn't yet discovered which of them was the victim."
You ever been to a murder mystery party?
Have I been to a murder mystery party?
I've never been to one.
I don't think so. I feel like one time. No, we did in a class in high school.
Not a party.
It wasn't a party, but we did like one of the things that you would do at a party where they like give out the envelopes and like everyone's a thing. I think we did it in like English class after we took the AP exam when you have that like dead week before school ends and stuff like that. So I think we did that once, but I haven't been to like a proper murder mystery party. Have you?
No, and I'm dying to go to one and only one.
Well, I should just throw you. Oh, wait, what? If you go to one and only one, are you going to be the victim of the party?
And I'm dying to go.
But I should just throw you one. We should do it for your next birthday. I'll talk to AG. We'll make it happen. Do a murder mystery party.
Thanks.
I'll be the butler.
Not the murderer.
No, because it'd be too obvious if the butler did it. Come on. Anyway, Percy Jackson. Piper says that she and Jason will watch the ship and watch Catoptris to see if they can see what lies ahead. She tells them not to go in after Nico without them, though. They all need to face off against the giants together. Percy thinks that that's smart. He asks, should we set a time to all regroup? Jason suggests 3 p.m. as it's the latest they can meet while still having enough time to save Nico. He says that if anything comes up, send an IM and we'll go from there. Everyone nods and agrees, but then most start shooting looks at Annabeth because they know that she's on a different schedule. Hedge says that this gives him enough time to eat or clean the coconuts out of the hull, and then he tells Percy and Annabeth no funny business or he'll ground them. And
Cut to Hedge wearing a coconut bra.
that'd be good. Yeah, and then he's like on the front of the ship doing the Little Mermaid on the rock thing. Yeah. Come on, by the end of this podcast, I'm going to get you to like Coach Hedge. That's my goal. He's fantastic. The book ends this chapter with, quote, the idea of getting grounded when they were about to risk their lives was so ridiculous, Percy couldn't help smiling. We'll be back soon, he promised. He looked around at his friends, trying not to feel like this was the last time they'd ever be together. Good luck, everyone.
Wait, was that your intro to the intermission, or is that what the book said?
That's the book, because we're going to do a little bit more of chapter 32 before we break for intermission.
I know, it just sounded like we'll be back soon. I hope I see you all again.
We'll be back soon. Hope to see you all soon. Go to the merch table. Anyway.
It says that.
Well, yeah.
In the book.
Leo lowered the gangplank, and Percy and Annabeth were the first off the ship. And that's the end of chapter 31, which I have retitled, incorporating the part that was in the previous episode as well. One ship to live, one ship to die it.
Oh, nice.
Because they drowned it with Diet Coke. Yeah.
Mine, because I only got this half, is there's no place like Rome.
That's really good. Dang, that's super good. I would steal it, but I am a man of principle, and I shan't.
My chapter titles usually suck.
Dude, you knocked it out of the park. Let's do at least part of chapter 32 before we break for intermission. This one is also a Percy chapter. It is titled Percy. We will retitle it. It opens with, quote, under different circumstances, wandering through Rome with Annabeth would have been pretty awesome. They're holding hands. They're dodging Vespas. They're squeezing through tourists. They're walking down winding streets. They're wading through oceans of pigeons. 2 pigeon references in 2 chapters? Oh, I'm thriving. But Percy and Annabeth are not, because how did they not stop for gelato? What are you doing? The key strategy to Rome is the Kelly Schubert Approach, which is you map stuff on the map of things you want to do, and then once you've got your basic itinerary, you find gelato places in between each of the places that you're going. So when you go from location 1 to location 2, halfway through, you go to a highly rated gelato place that at least has 4 stars on Google Maps.
And then get stracciatella and stracciatella only.
No, though that is very good. You got to switch it up. Certain places do different things better. Like some are really solid. Like lemon gelato over there is really good because they'll get it from fresh lemon trees. I got mint gelato from a place over there where there was just like tons of ground up like fresh mint leaves in it. Lots of good stuff.
Us Midwesterners, we're not really into culinarily switching it up.
Cookies and... yes, I would like adult cookies and cream,
That's
please.
right. That's right.
I would like the Italian word for cookies and cream.
And no sushi.
Wait, what? Oh, come on. So,
That Mississippi River sushi is pretty gnarly.
yeah.
Radioactive.
Okay, wait. This half a joke, half a serious question. I guess, but is there like catfish sushi here? Or like, there can't be, because my next thought was there's no such thing as sushi grade catfish, is there?
I have no idea. But if there is, I'm sure it has a deeply Midwestern name, like, like fried catties or something.
Oh, I was going to say something where it's like Missouri escargot.
Yeah, exactly. That's way better.
Also, now that we're here, is it Missouri? Is that the proper, or like...
Hey, wait, what's that pasta that you eat that's like the main pasta, like blank and meatballs?
Spaghetti?
There's your answer.
What?
It ends in I. Is it spaghetti and meatballs?
No. My question is, Missouri or Missouri, not Missouri.
Oh,
or
okay.
Missouri.
Most people ask about Missouri.
No. I take the approach of like, I want to pronounce cities as properly as possible without sounding like I'm doing a caricature of the people who live there. So like when I was in Australia and I was doing shows in Melbourne, I was like, the closest I would go is saying Melbourne instead of Melbourne. But then people there were like, you should say Melbourne. And I was like, that sounds like I'm making fun of you when I say the city name. I will stop at Melbourne. So my thing
Here we
is-
call it St. Louis.
Say what?
St. Louis.
St. Louis?
Yeah. And
No.
yeah, that's what we do. That's what we say.
I apologize. I won't be doing that. But yeah, but like Missouri, not Missouri, right? Okay, cool, great, sweet. I'm gonna go that far, but I will not be calling it Missouri.
Correct.
Okay, cool. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So they're
For the
heading
boot
for
heel, folks. Missouri.
They're heading for the Colosseum because it's an easy landmark, but navigating there was harder than Percy imagined. There's dead-end streets. They keep accidentally running into fountains and monuments and stuff.
As opposed to 5 up and 6 over for New York navigation. Yeah.
Just Pythagorean your way to where you got to go. Annabeth comments on the architecture, but Percy is looking for other things. He's looking for threats. He sees a lar, and I think this is the first time that they have, at least for me remembering, that they said like a singular version of the lar. I'm sure they did when we had Vestivius or whatever that guy's name was before, but I had always seen it as lair because I think when it's plural, it's Lares, layers. So I always thought that the singular was like lair and then layers, but it's lar and then lars?
Laries?
I don't know. Maybe I'll ask Dr. Moya for this one to settle the score. But what's funny is that he says that he sees a lar glaring or glaring at them, and they see a nymph or a goddess.
I gotta go. Sorry.
That whole setup was worth it, so I could make that joke. A goddess wielding a knife, potentially a nymph. Nothing had attacked them yet, but Percy feels like they are definitely being watched. They get to the Colosseum, they start heading towards the Tiber, they're asking for directions along the way. Percy feels silly for not realizing that Italians speak
With their hands.
No, he's a New Yorker. They speak Italian, but he's thankful that if he looks confused enough, they will switch to English. And as someone who did live in France for a while, it is very nice that the backup language for lots of these countries is English. And if you either look confused or my move, admit defeat in that country's native language and just learn the sentence of, I'm sorry, I don't speak _ do you speak English? Then people are super nice and very down to help you. That's my little travel pro tip.
And the worst is when you kind of know the language and you give it a shot and they immediately switch to English.
Yeah.
Devastating outcome.
But the best is when you're in a place like France or Italy where the fashion sense is very good and someone just comes up to you and just starts speaking in the native tongue and you're like, oh, I look good today. Yes.
That happens to me all the time.
Key, don't wear shorts. Europeans don't wear shorts like cargo shorts. It's either pants or super short stuff.
Except for the Germans who go to raves and they wear shorts that go to right
those
there.
are like baggy capris.
Like almost capris, yeah.
Percy then learns that they don't use dollars over here, they use euros, and Annabeth solves this problem by printing a credit card from the Daedalus laptop, which is wild. Narrator Percy goes, how did you? No, never mind, I don't want to know. Just keep being awesome. I mean, it's pretty cool, but this begs the question, what bank is it linked to?
Who's paying it off?
Who's funding the account? Like, sure, you can print off a rectangle of plastic with numbers on it and a scan code, but like, where's the money coming from? What's the trend? Like, these are the
It's
adult
got like
questions.
40% interest and she's just letting the debt rack up.
What's the APR? Like, what are the rewards, if any? I gotta know. Is it a credit card? Is it a debit card? What's happening?
And you get into a lounge at an airport.
Does it have tap to pay or a chip? Do you have to sign? What are all the things? Is there a pin? Does she have to sign the back of it? What's going on? They need to go to the river. They get to the river, but they are hot and they're tired. And Percy is surprised that they are hot and tired because using the credit card, they bought some sodas. So they shouldn't be hot and tired. Yeah, Percy, all you had to drink was soda. It's not water, it's soda. That's gonna make you feel bad. Oh, I drank a bunch of carbonated sugar water and I don't feel good in the heat. Whatever possibly could have done this?
Yeah, they were banging their head against a wall and then they got surprised they had a headache.
So Percy, I guess, just being a teenager. The shore is lined with a stone embankment, and there are various buildings along the shore. The river is wide and slow-moving and caramel-colored. There are some trees overhead and some bridges, both new and old, going over it. Annabeth points out one of the old ones that's in ruins, and she says that she recognizes it from the map. But now she wonders, well, what do I do? Where do I go from here? Percy notes that she specifically asks, what do we do, not what do I do? And he really likes that she said that. And then he starts thinking like, oh man, am I really going to be able to leave her alone? Then Percy thinks about how they could contact Tiberinus. He doesn't want to jump into the water because he may have to deal with more grouchy river spirits. So then Percy points out a cafe that isn't too far away and suggests, why don't we go try out that nifty new credit card again? So it's noon and the place is empty, which is early for an Italian lunch. The waiter asks if they're American. They confirm, and Percy orders a pizza. And then the waiter goes, and let me guess, Coca-Cola with ice? And then in the book, it goes, awesome, Percy said. He didn't understand why the guy was giving him such a sour face. It wasn't like Percy asked for a blue Coke, which if he did, that would have been wild. Annabeth gets a panini and a carbonated water and then tells Percy that she thinks that the Italians eat later in the day and they don't put ice in their drinks and they only do pizza for tourists. The first one is true. I don't think that the last two are true because I'm pretty sure Aperol Spritzes have ice in them. So I'm pretty sure other drinks in Italy have ice in them. And pizza only for tourists, I also don't think so. Italian listeners, again, email me, but I feel like this is incorrect.
Yeah, I think that pizza is not only for tourists. I had plenty of pizza over there, and nobody looked at me like I was a tourist.
Percy is baffled that Italians would not eat the best Italian food. So then, you protest.
It's not the best Italian. I mean,
Yeah, I don't think it necessarily is either. What would you say is the best Italian food?
gnocchi, obviously.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, what would I say is the best Italian food? I mean, pizza is definitely top 2, but I might have to give it to some sort of pasta. Which particular dish? I'm not sure. There's a lot, and we could be on stage forever talking about it. But there's some dishes like that only hit over there. Like a cacio e pepe is just so good, and it's so good over there. Yeah.
Whatever it is, it can't beat Missouri escargot.
So they're eating lunch, they're holding hands across the table, it's all cute. Narrator Percy says, quote, Percy was content just to look at Annabeth in the sunlight. It always made her hair so bright and warm. Her eyes took on the colors of the sky and the cobblestones, alternately brown or blue. Percy considers telling Annabeth his dream, but he decides not to so that she doesn't have one other thing to worry about. It does make him wonder what would have happened if they didn't defeat Chrysaor and the dolphin dudes. He guesses that they would have been taken to Greece for some grandiose sacrifice, and he doesn't like this thought, but he kind of wishes that they had been defeated then and there because at least they would have been defeated together. Annabeth tells Percy that he shouldn't feel ashamed, guessing that he's thinking about Chrysaor and him defeating him in swordplay. And since he wasn't exactly thinking about it, I wrote him a note, well, I wasn't, but now I am. But he tells him that it doesn't matter that he was bested in swordplay. Percy saved the day in the end. And then the book goes, in spite of himself, Percy smiled. How do you do that? You always know what I'm thinking. I know you, she said. And you like me anyway? Percy wanted to ask, but he held it back. Why not? That would have been super cute. Come on, man.
Super cute.
That's a good level of self-deprecating comment without being like, does this outfit make me look pretty? Like, no, come on, man. That's good. That's still kind of cute. Like you can with a smile and a smirk say, and you like me anyway? Where it's like, slight rib at myself, but I don't really mean it, but I do. Please validate me.
Whoa.
She tells Percy that he cannot bear the weight of the entire quest. That's why there are 7 of them. She reiterates that he has to let her go off on her own quest alone. She needs to do it. And Percy confesses that he missed Annabeth and so much of their lives were taken from them. He doesn't want that to happen again. Then the waiter comes and brings the food, and Percy describes it as, quote, the pizza was a bland, doughy square with not a lot of cheese. Maybe, Percy thought, that's why Romans didn't eat it. Poor Romans. And I wrote, Percy's first Neapolitan-style pizza.
Not my experience with Italian pizza.
It's just, like, that is what it is. Like, it's usually the floppier, not as much cheese, but I love it. It's just, like, a very different type of pizza. Maybe, like, the classic what we're used to style of pizza is for tourists only, and this is like what they eat over there.
A place called New York Slice in Rome, yeah.
When I was in Switzerland recently, there was some place that was called like USA Pizza or something, and it was all like American flag pizza, and it had all this branding that said, the best pizza in the city. And I was like, this country borders Italy. That's impossible. There has to be one Italian restaurant in Zurich.
Like down the road from the border, yeah.
No way that this is the best pizza in town. The pictures looked horrendous. It looked so bad. Percy then, as the narrator says, quote, "You'll have to trust me," Annabeth said. Percy almost thought she was talking to her sandwich because she didn't meet his eyes. "You've got to believe I'll come back." And I love Annabeth looking at her sandwich, just going, "You'll have to trust me." Percy says he believes her, and that's not the problem. His problem is that she has no idea where she's going or what is fully in store. And then two drop-dead gorgeous people show up, they ride in on a Vespa, and they start going on and on about the wonderful day that they've had. And there's a very funny story that we have to tell about this, but it's very long, so we will discuss that after intermission. Whoa! Ooh, a cliffhanger. Don't leave the show halfway through.
We hope we see you all again.
Now, if you are listening to the podcast after the fact, we're going to take our break here, the Market of Athena. So let's all say goodbye to the podcast people. Goodbye! Hello and welcome to the Market of Athena Shubio edition, back in the Shubio, back with some updates, some things about live shows, other things about not live shows. So let's all talk about the podcast updates. First up, a scheduling note. This coming Monday, October 27th, we will be taking a week off. This is part of the 6 weeks off a year thing. It's been 63 days since I have last taking a week off, and scheduling-wise, that works out. So we'll have an off week on October 27th, then we'll have an off week on December 29th, and then that will be the only weeks off. I might be posting a bonus episode. I might not be. I might be posting an episode of one of my other podcasts. I'm not 100% sure. So there might be some sort of content, but there won't be an episode of The Noose Olympian on the 27th, but we will be back that first Monday in November to continue our coverage of the Mark of Athena. Second, I'm working on a new crop of live shows. Things are penciled in at the moment. Nothing's in pen, but you should keep these dates in mind if you want to come to these shows. So first, if you live in or near Los Angeles, keep December 2nd open. And then if you live in Australia, you're going to want to keep January open. And if you live in New Zealand, you're going to want to keep the end of January and the beginning of February open. Nothing is 100% set in stone right now, but the dates that I'm looking at currently are Los Angeles on December 2nd. And then for Australia, we've got Sydney on January 3rd, Perth on January 10th, Melbourne on January 17th, Brisbane on January 24th. And then for New Zealand, I'm trying Wellington on January 31st and Auckland on February 7th. Trying to make all that happen. Whenever stuff is legitimately set down, we will have posts all over social media and discussions about it here in the podcast and at length in the Patreon. So just keep your eyes and ears open for that. Third, I also have some merchandise in the works that should be ready for the holidays. I'm working on an Anyway Percy Jackson mug, and I'm working on a Blackjack Trans Icon t-shirt. Currently in talks with my merch company about it, so stay tuned. And then I'm also in the design phases of making a Mayor of Tangent Town enamel pin, because enough folks have commented on episodes where I've joked about it that they would indeed purchase that pin. So those things are in the works. Also in the works are new bonus episodes of The Noose Olympian. I know I've hyped them up. I just need to actually do them. I'm so busy with life and the baby and many other things, but I'm trying to get those up at thenewsolympian.com/Patreon. Speaking of the Patreon, let's give a shout out to the folks who have joined our Patreon most recently. So shout out to our newest God tier patron, Caitlin J, and shout out to our newest demigod tier patron, Auroria Mayes. Thank you all so much for your support. May Hestia bless you that if you're cooking something that is on the stove for quite some time, that you stir the pan enough to where you don't get any burnt bits on the bottom. Now, I also have updates about this episode in particular, but I'll discuss those in the next mid-roll break before we do the Q&A. If you're all caught up on the Noose Olympian and you're looking for some new content to consume, you are in luck, because I make a whole bunch of podcasts. One show that I think you might like, and one show that I'm going to post the second episode of season 5 of soon, just because it's been long enough and I don't have the rest of season 5 done, but I want to just get another episode up there because we've got episode 2 done, is MetroLink Adults. MetroLink Adults is a charity game show. I'm the host. Guests compete to solve mysteries from children's mystery series, whether that be books like Encyclopedia Brown and Nancy Drew and Cam Jansen, or TV shows like Scooby-Doo or Shelby Woo. And whoever gets the most right or gets the most points by getting a combination of correct answers and bonus points wins money for a charity of their choosing. We've raised a bunch of money and it's been really fun, and you can listen to those episodes at MetroLinkAdults.com, and you can listen on whatever podcasting app you're listening to this on, and get ready for that next episode of season 5. I want to get it up soon just to get it out there. Now, unless you are listening on Patreon, where you get access to ad-free episodes, you're going to hear words from a few sponsors who make it feasible for me to be a full-time podcaster. Some of those ads will be read by me and others of them won't be. The ones that aren't read by me are inserted locally. So if you live in Mexico, don't be surprised if you hear an ad in Spanish. But once those ads are complete, we'll get back into this episode of The Noose Olympian. Let's pick it up where we last left off. So these super duper attractive people came through, and not us. Good. Johnny pointed for the people podcast listening at home after the fact, or not at home. You could be at work. Do your job. I'm your boss. So anyway, these super attractive people come through. Annabeth is stunned, and she gives Percy a look like he should know these people. Percy admits that they do look familiar, but he thinks that they look like people he saw from old TV shows. So them looking as young as they do doesn't check out. He asks the dude if he's the guy from Mad Men.
Who is John Hamm? Who is
from St. Louis? Yes.
Incredible. Perfect chapters for this.
The stars have aligned. And just when you think the stars have aligned because of that, they align even further. Annabeth is embarrassed, correcting that it's Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn. Now, if you all are caught up on your Mike Schubert and Johnny Frohlichstein lore, and you followed me on Vine, which was a perfect app, you'd know that when Johnny and I were traveling to Prague, we stayed in an Airbnb, and in this Airbnb, it had, I'm not kidding, Audrey Hepburn wallpaper. So it had like a white base with black and white photos of Audrey Hepburn in various poses. And like, I didn't know this when we booked the place, and it was just like Audrey Hepburn wallpaper.
Whole place.
So we filmed a Vine there where the Vine was, the conceit was I was like touring a new place and I was on the phone, and both of our phones were deodorant sticks because it's Vine. We were using the phone to film. And it was like the Vine went, oh, should we just reenact the Vine?
Yeah, we could.
Okay, right. Okay, so I'll do my part. Imagine I am seen. I am in a room. I'm walking through the rest of an apartment, and I go, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I was like, yeah, the place looks great. Is there any deal breakers for you?
And I was like, yeah, the only one is if it has Audrey Hepburn wallpaper.
And then I walk into the room with Audrey Hepburn wallpaper and just go, and that was it. And it was great, and we were really proud of it. And
if we did it today, we'd be famous.
I have laughed about Audrey Hepburn ever since because of the random Audrey Hepburn wallpaper room. There wasn't Audrey Hepburn anything else in this Airbnb. Like, it wasn't like an homage to Audrey, and there was posters and movies and all these other things. It was just like normal place, and then one of the bedrooms was Audrey Hepburn wallpaper.
Yeah, incredible.
It was great.
If only another short form video content app had come along to replace Vine, but it hasn't. It
hasn't. Nope. Instagram Reels. So Percy defends himself by saying that he doesn't watch a lot of TV. And I was wondering, okay, what's this going to be? Is this like an Aphrodite thing? What's going on? But Annabeth says that this is straight out of Roman Holiday. But that movie is from the 1950s. So that doesn't make any sense.
I am a big Gregory Peck boy.
Okay.
Gregory Peck, for those of you who do not know.
Well, I was going to say, I did see multiple people on their phones in the crowd. I can only assume everyone is Googling what Gregory Peck looks like, which I had to do when I was reading this chapter.
He's a looker.
He is a good-looking dude.
He played Atticus Finch.
Oh, that's him?
In To Kill a Mockingbird.
This dude
and won Best
rips.
Picture
I
for
love
it.
him as Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. Okay, Gregory Peck. I respect the game.
Incredible. And when I was reading up on Gregory Peck to prepare for this show, I learned that he is a staunch progressive and was offered by Lyndon Johnson, had he won a second term, the ambassadorship to Ireland.
Dude!
King. Gregory Peck is a king.
Good for him. I mean, also, look at him. My God. Look at this. Oh, come on. Oh, Gregory. Hello. What is even in his mouth there? Oh, a pipe. Oh, Gregory, tobacco's bad for you. Not in the 1950s. It's healthy.
It's so cool.
Oh, God. He's so attractive. So, yeah, I get it. But I was wondering, what is this going to be? Annabeth is wondering, what's going on? And then we learn from the introductions, the woman goes, quote, I'm afraid you've mistaken me for someone else. My name is Rhea Silvia. I was the mother to Romulus and Remus thousands of years ago.
But Lupin.
But you're so kind to think I look as young as the 1950s. And this is my husband, and it's Tiberinus, god of the river Tiber, which we love when something is named after someone's name.
I thought the River Tiber was named after Dan Tiber.
Dan
so-
Tiber. Percy says hello and asks if they always look like American movie stars, and they say they're not sure, but the whole culture influence thing does go both ways. He admits that there's been a lot of American influence lately, so that makes sense. Percy asks if they are here to help, and Tiberinus says that his naiads told him that they were here. He asks Annabeth if she has the map and the letter of introduction, and she hands them over. Percy doesn't like how intently she's staring at him, but come on, we all just looked at a photo of Gregory Peck, and listeners at home probably did as well. Annabeth comes to her senses and asks if he has helped other children of Athena along this quest, and Rhea says that he's incredibly helpful, and she lists off some of his accomplishments. He thanks her and then confirms to Annabeth that he has. At least he's brought them to the start of the quest. Quote, a shame all of them died painfully later on. Well, your documents seem in order. We should get going. The Mark of Athena awaits. Great. The vibes, fantastic. I love these two. They're so much fun.
The vines, fantastic.
My vines are all right. Percy asks Tiberinus to let Percy go with her just a little bit more. The other vine we made on that trip was really good. The job application one. You remember our job application one?
Oh, yeah, I do.
So it was, I don't remember where we were on this trip, but it was just like an office building that was just open. And we should reenact this one as well, where I sit down at a desk with a piece of paper and I go, okay, on your resume, you listed this job as your current place of employment? And then Johnny just sits back with a smirk on his face, and then I go, I like that. That's bold. You're hired. Good stuff. Comedic geniuses we were.
And are.
We just needed longer format. 6.5 seconds. No, I need 1 hour and 20 minutes. Percy asks Tiberinus to let him go with Annabeth just a little bit longer. Rhea says that he can't. He must return to the ship and face off against the giants with his friends. And when she said that, I was like, oh, Rhea knows what's up. Like, she kind of came off as like, not necessarily ditzy, but more of just like caught up in the beauty of their romantic getaway and stuff. But then when she says this, I was like, oh, Rhea means business. Like, she really knows what's going on. She says that Catoptris will show the way, and Annabeth must follow a different path than the rest of the heroes. Tiberinus confirms, and then he warns Percy that they have less time than they think to save Nico. Percy's nervous. Annabeth assures him that it's okay and that she must do this. He begins to protest, but her expression makes him stop. She's scared, but she's trying to hide it, and Percy doesn't want to make things worse. And he doesn't want to convince her to abandon the quest, because then she'll always have this big what if hanging over her head, and that's very bad as well. And as someone that hates asking what if, I'm all about that. I support this.
This just feels like a classic case of like when old dudes say that the two most important words in a marriage are "your" and "right." Like,
I don't know. I mean, I think this is like Percy deep down knows that he's got to do it.
No,
And
for sure.
Yeah. Gosh, man. Now I'm just thinking of like the old people at the engineering firm I worked at would just the way that they would talk about their wives. It's like, what are you even doing? They were just like so, I don't know. I love hanging out with Kelly. I don't get the, they all ball and shit. Why?
yeah, do you hate the woman you married?
You're going to spend all of your time with this person. You're going to have every conversation with this person. You're going to know every story that they want to tell. And you don't like them? What are you doing? Anyway, Percy Jackson, deep down, Percy knows that Annabeth will be the one to find the statue. He's not sure how, but he just knows. He agrees, and he lets her go, telling her to be safe. And then Rhea goes, safe? Not at all! And tells Annabeth to come along with her, or at least to as far as we can lead you. Then the book ends this chapter with, quote, Annabeth kissed Percy. She hesitated like she was wondering what else to say. Then she shouldered her backpack and climbed on the back of the scooter. Percy hated it. He would have preferred a rematch with Chrysaor, but he forced himself to stay in his chair and watch as Annabeth motored off through the streets of Rome with Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn. It's the end of chapter 32, which I've retitled, I ate a bland, doughy square with not a lot of cheese. What if you retitled chapter 32?
Feeling a bit peckish.
Oh, you're on a heater today, dude. You must be feeling the channel of your hometown.
That's right, yeah. It's like when Percy's in water, but I'm in St. Louis.
Coursing through your veins. Yeah, dude.
The Provel.
You're just in the proximity.
The Provel is not coursing through my veins. It's just in my veins, frozen.
The what? The
Provel.
What's Provel?
Oh, okay. Stop saying that. You're not from here. Interloper. Provel is the cheese that is a little bit plastic that goes on top of the Emo's pizza.
Oh, okay. Is it a cheese that exists anywhere else, or is it just on this pizza?
I think if you
get
walk
it in the store?
over the Missouri-Illinois border with Provel in your hand, it disintegrates.
Can you get it anywhere else, or is it only on top of this pizza?
No, you can get it at the grocery store.
Okay, yeah, that was my
But
question.
I think it's like Emo's branded when you get it at the grocery store. It's
Interesting.
unclear if it's an Emo's concoction or not.
Is it one of those things where is it actually cheese, or can they legally not call it cheese, like how Pork Roll New Jersey cannot legally call itself ham? Does it say cheese, or is it like cheesy spread?
Yeah. Whatever the case, they shouldn't be allowed to.
Cheesy treat. Yeah. All right, so now we're into
Someone is raising their hand, and I'm very curious.
Just the Google overview says Provel is a white processed cheese prominent in St. Louis, a combination of cheddar, Swiss provolone, and liquid smoke. Provel has a low melting point, a gooey texture, and a buttery flavor. Traditional cheese used for St. Louis style pizza.
I'm going to make that my dating app profile.
I really thought
I'm married.
So for anyone podcast listening, it was the description of all of the cheese, and at one point it said a combination of like the different styles, and I really thought it was going to be like a combination of cheddar, provolone, and polyurethane.
Yeah.
I was really waiting for the non-edible thing in the description. All right, chapter 33. It's an Annabeth chapter. Ooh, Annabeth. It's like, this is probably some of the calculation that Rick did, like when he mapped this whole book out of like when the narrators are. Like, it's so perfectly to where when we get to the Mark of Athena stuff, Annabeth is the narrator. Thank goodness, because it would have been wild if it was like, and Annabeth descended the stairs. Chapter 34. Leo! Like, no, get out of here! No!
And then she comes back and she was like, yeah, all went well.
It
Easy.
was totally
Yeah.
fine. Nothing noteworthy at all. Title the book? What do you mean? So, chapter 33 opens with, quote, Annabeth figured it could have been worse. If she had to go on a horrifying solo quest, at least she'd gotten to have lunch with Percy on the banks of the Tiber first. Now she got to take a scooter ride with Gregory Peck. Audrey Hepburn conveniently left out of this description. But also, I get it. Narrator Annabeth.
Cuts to Percy and Audrey walking, holding hands.
So narrator Annabeth says she only knew about the movies because of her dad, which, I don't think you were walking through the library asking, can I rent a VHS tape of this movie? But apparently, in addition to military history, her dad is also a huge 1940s and 1950s romance movie buff, and Roman Holiday was a favorite of his. Narrator Annabeth says, quote, she thought the plot was silly. A princess escapes her minders and falls in love with an American journalist in Rome, but she's suspected her dad liked it because it reminded him of his own romance with the goddess Athena, another impossible pairing that couldn't end happily. Her dad was nothing like Gregory Peck. Ooh, burn. Athena certainly wasn't anything like Audrey Hepburn. Ooh, burn. But Annabeth knew that people saw what they wanted to see. They didn't need the mist to warp their perceptions.
Yeah, Annabeth's dad and Athena are more of a Cary Grant, Grace Kelly vibe, if you ask me.
I mean, both still very attractive people. But yeah, this does kind of make me think of like sometimes when someone says that they will like talk about a celebrity lookalike and then they name a celebrity that is like nowhere close to them. They're like, oh yeah, a lot of people say that I look like this celebrity. And then you just have to be like, uh-huh.
So I've had multiple people in Europe come up to me screaming that they've found the coach of Liverpool Football Club and like asking to take a picture with me. I don't think I look anything like him, but it happens like every time I go to Europe.
I'm going to Google it. I have no idea who this coach is.
Jergen Klopp.
Oh, wait, he used to coach the American men's team and it didn't go well.
I think that's Jurgen Klinsmann.
That is, never mind.
Idiot.
I am an idiot. You look nothing like this guy.
I know.
You look nothing
I know,
like
but
this
I'm
guy.
telling you, every time I go, it happens. Usually they're intoxicated.
Here's the most like you photo
I
of
agree.
him.
I don't look like him. It happens every time.
People are wild, and this guy looks nothing like Johnny. Carol, Carol Frohlichstein, does this guy look like Johnny?
Frankly, if I looked like that guy, I would be thrilled. He's a silver fox.
The only thing I can see is that it's like same hairstyle and glasses and beard.
It happens every time.
But the color is way off.
I know.
He's got a gray beard and brown hair. You're blonde.
I agree
all
with
over.
you. I agree with you, but the Europeans do not.
Have you ever used it to your advantage where you get like a free drink out of it or something?
No.
Ah.
Because I'm
Wait,
usually
here's the
like,
other thing. How old is this guy? He's like
telling you.
50-something at
telling you.
least. Jergen Klopp.
I should just try to go to a Liverpool game and just see how far I can get.
He's 58.
Good looking 58.
I don't know if that's an insult to you or if they just think very highly of Jergen Klopp. Ooh, he looks very stoic in this picture. We have a book to talk about. Rhea does the classic, while they're going through town, point at things in the city and say stories about them or say what they used to be, which is my favorite thing to do. And I imagine you'll be doing this all weekend as we travel through St. Louis. But she calls out Horatius and friends defending the city at the Sublician Bridge, or Sublician Bridge. Tiberinus points out where Romulus and Remus washed ashore. Rhea thanks him for flooding himself so that her babies could wash ashore where the wolves could find them. He says that it was nothing, and narrator Annabeth says, quote, Annabeth felt lightheaded. The river god was talking about something that had happened thousands of years ago when this area was nothing but marshes and maybe some shacks. Tiberinus saved 2 babies, one of whom went on to found the world's greatest empire. It was nothing, in italics. And Rhea, sorry.
I was just going to say Annabeth's fully nerding out about this. Like, it's fine. But yeah, I love her.
I think it's very fun that she has the mix of nerding out about the Rhea and Tiberinus of it all, and then also being like, and Gregory Peck is so hot. She's truly a multifaceted individual. Get you a girl who can do both.
She's going to go to Brown. I think she feels like she's going to, that's just like a, nerdy bookish girl who goes to Brown. And
she should go to Rice University, our alma mater. Why not kind of shoot for that? The logo is literally an Athenian owl. Come on, dude. It's right there.
I'm behind.
Rhea points out a building and all the things that it used to be. Love this move. Oh, I love doing this when I take people through Central Jersey. Then she starts to do it for another building, and Annabeth asks her to stop because it's just like wrecking her brain. They arrive at the spot, a large marble building with a gorgeous facade that's covered in grime. Annabeth asks if she's going in it, and Rhea corrects that she's going under it. So there are steps to the side looking like they would lead to a basement of sorts. Tiberinus says, quote, Rome is chaotic above ground, but that's nothing compared to below ground. You must descend into the buried city, Annabeth Chase. Find the altar of the foreign god. The failures of your predecessors will guide you. After that, I do not know. So the weight of the situation manifests as the weight in her bag, like it feels literally heavy. And even with all of her preparations, the quest has only become more impossible in her eyes the more that she has learned about it. She checks with these 2 that none of her siblings actually made it to the shrine, and Tiberinus says no, but she surely knows what award would await her if she does liberate the statue, and she says yes. Rhea says that it could stop the war. Tiberinus checks that she knows who is guarding the statue. Annabeth confirms, and then Rhea looks to him and says that Annabeth seems brave and perhaps stronger than the others, so maybe she can do it. And Tiberinus says that he hopes so and wishes Annabeth good luck.
I'm just stuck on Tiberinus saying the failures of your predecessors will guide you. If that's not the most ominous sentence I've ever heard in my whole life.
I thought it just meant straight up like you'll see dead bodies along the way.
I think what they're getting at.
Yeah, that's how
you'll
I
see.
Took it. Like you'll know, keep following the path of skeletons and you'll know you're on the right track. Narrator Annabeth says, quote, Rhea Sylvia beamed. We have such a lovely afternoon planned, off to shop. Ah, great. Annabeth then descends the steps alone. Halfway down, she realizes how long it's been since she's adventured solo, and she freezes in place. It hasn't been since she was a kid running away from home when she was 7 years old. She then thinks of the Luke and Thalia Brooklyn lair, the Cyclope warehouse thing event. Classic Brooklyn, getting into a place you don't want to be.
And a warehouse party also.
It's probably 30 minutes away from the nearest subway.
Oh, New York humor.
So there's this thing called public transportation.
Hey, we have the MetroLink.
Oh, you do?
And it's terrible.
Oh, it's terrible? What makes it terrible? Is it just like one line?
It's like a couple lines, and it's not a particularly... I mean, the last time I was on one was not a particularly safe experience.
That's unfortunate. But maybe one day you can get a good metro. Here's hoping. Never gonna happen. Anyway, Percy Jackson, she thinks about how the Cyclopes were mimicking her friends' voices, and she wonders, what if this is a trap to lure her as well? Quote, what if those other children of Athena died because Tiberinus and Rhea Sylvia led them into a trap? Would Gregory Peck and Audrey Hepburn do something like that? I love her attributing the actors to them. But no, I don't think that's the case.
Atticus Finch is the most trustworthy individual of all time. No chance.
He's a good lawyer. She forces herself to keep going because she knows what's at stake. At the bottom of the steps, there's an old wooden door with an iron pull ring with a keyhole above the ring. She thinks about how she's going to try and pick this lock, but once she touches the ring, the mark of Athena burns into the door and it swings open. Annabeth takes one last look at the sky above, and then she enters. As narrator Annabeth, she says, quote, she found herself shelf in a basement that was an architectural cyborg. And I was like, a robot? But then it describes ancient brick walls were crisscrossed with modern electrical cables and plumbing. The ceiling was held up with a combination of steel scaffolding and old granite Roman columns. And I was like, oh, a mix of old and new. And that made me wonder, does the word cyborg just mean a mix of old and new? Or does it mean like a cyborg? And then I Googled it, and the definition seems to be more like person/robot. But can you use the word cyborg to describe it?
I think it is person/robot, but she did say the modern electrical cables and plumbing.
Right, but didn't say like, and then the flesh. Yeah, Googling the Oxford Dictionary says a fictional or hypothetical person whose physical abilities are extended beyond normal human limitations by mechanical elements built into the body. So this is Rick using a loose definition of the word cyborg. I like it. I think it's fun. So there are a bunch of boxes here as well. Annabeth opens some of them and sees that they are filled with spools of string, and she thinks maybe this was a storage area for a tourist shop. Annabeth, you are in the lair of Arachne. Come on. What do you mean? What do you mean? The crowd's silence makes me know I'm right. I know you got trapdoors there, but this is Arachne town, through and through. You too. Farther in, there are stairs that lead even further down. And narrator Annabeth says, quote, Annabeth crept to the edge. Even with the glow cast by her dagger, it was too dark to see below. She rested her hand on the wall and found a light switch. And then I had to remember, do all celestial bronze weapons glow? It's not just Riptide? Okay, yeah. I guess I'm so used to Riptide being the only one that is like prominently doing this that I was like, Riptide being glow in the dark is a Riptide power, but it's all celestial bronze, I guess.
I just love her unbelievably epic quest boiling down to how I feel when I have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, just groping along the wall for the light switch.
Annabeth flips the switch and light bulbs illuminate the stairs. There's a mosaic floor with deer and fawns on it. She goes down into a 20-foot square room. The walls have faded frescoes on them, and the only exit is a hole dug into the corner, which is very spider-like, and I don't like it. It leads into a larger cavern, and there's no way down. Again, very spidery. Get the web and then zzz down. Annabeth hears running water below, and it smells musty, but not like a sewer. She doesn't see any way down. She doesn't want to jump, and she says that out loud. And then on cue, the Mark of Athena appears at the bottom of the cavern. She thinks it's taunting her, like, this is the way. You better figure it out, genius.
So it sounds like Athena has to go down the water spout.
Wow, that's really good. What's the title of that song, Annabeth? She thinks and thinks. She hates that she doesn't have magical abilities like her friends. Quote, what did Annabeth have? A bronze dagger that did nothing special? Literally, it's illuminating her way through the dark. A bronze dagger that did nothing special? It was literally the cursed blade in the prophecy last time around. A bronze dagger that did nothing special? And a cursed silver coin? She had her backpack with Daedalus's laptop, a water bottle, and a few pieces of ambrosia for emergencies, and a box of matches. Probably useless, but her dad drilled into her head that she should always have a way to make fire.
Dora the Explorer ass backpack.
What did she have? A singing backpack with a singing map inside?
She gave up the map. She just had one.
The problem with Dora the Explorer and the map in the backpack is that the backpack song slaps so hard and the map song is so terrible. Backpack, 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 backpack. I'm the backpack loaded up with things and knickknacks too. Anything that you might need, I'll find inside for you. Backpack, 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 yeah! And then the map just goes, I'm the map, 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 I'm the map. It's so bad, it's so bad. I remember being a kid being like, get out of here, I want the backpack song again. Ugh. Anyway, Percy Jackson. So, Annabeth, as the narrator, continues. She had no amazing powers. Even her one true magic item, her New York Yankees cap of invisibility, had stopped working and was still back in her cabin on the Argo, too. You should still be wearing that around. It's a good hat. It's a good fashion statement. It's a great baseball team to support. Don't think about how bad we've been since May 2025. I don't want to talk about it. We were so promising, and now we're so bad.
Same. And our two teams will meet for the next 3 days, as I'm sure all of these big sports fans in the crowd are aware of.
Big sports fans. Look, go Brewers.
They're cooking.
Are the Brewers cooking? Yeah, more like booers. I only root for the one Milwaukee baseball team, the Utter Tuggers.
I should have brought my shirt.
So, a voice in her head says, you've got your intelligence. And she hopes that this could be Athena speaking to her, but then she realizes that's probably just wishful thinking. She thinks that Odysseus, her favorite hero, accomplished all of his feats with smarts and wit alone, and that is what Athena values. Annabeth then realizes that wisdom's daughter walks alone doesn't just mean people, it also means powers too. So Annabeth then is invigorated, and she starts thinking more. She goes back to those boxes. There's boxes of string, there are also boxes of plastic swords. She gets an idea, and I wrote, build a ladder, and that's exactly what she does.
I feel like this whole piece of writing is really like core to her character, that like she doesn't have like the ability to move water or shoot fire or whatever, or fly.
She's the Batman of the group, but instead of being a billionaire, she's just very smart.
yeah. It's merit over nepotism.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like that's like core to the whole point of this book, is that like she doesn't have all of this other sort of extraneous stuff. It's just her and her smarts, and that's really awesome.
Right. It's like the smarts version of how Black Widow can somehow hang with the Avengers, even though she's, everyone's like, I've got Mjolnir. And she's like, I got this tiny little gun that fits in my very tight back pocket.
And gymnastics, yeah.
True. Well, like, she finds a way. Credit to Black Widow. She finds a way. So the book ends this chapter with, quote, the ladder wouldn't win any design awards, but it might get her to the bottom of the cavern safely. First, she stuffed her backpack with the leftover spools of string. She wasn't sure why, but they were one more resource, and not too heavy. She headed back to the hole in the mosaic floor. She secured one end of the ladder to the nearest piece of scaffolding, lowered the rope into the cavern, and shimmied down.
So in the book, it says shinnied.
Okay, I had that, and I was like, clearly that must have been a typo. But okay, so it does have shinnied.
It says
and
shinnied.
My notes app is not red underlining it, so let's Google shinny. Past tense shinnied. He loved to shinny up that tree. It's apparently another word for shimmy. It's just the same thing.
Shinny is a synonym for shimmy?
Yes, apparently. I guess if you're like, I don't want to make so many loops because M, he's like, woo, 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 woo. Double M's. No, I just want to do half as many. Shinny.
You're going to start calling me Jami now?
No, that's too many loops. That's why your name is Johnny. Actually, in olden times, it used to be Jami.
Jami,
people were
yeah.
like, too many loops. Got to shorten it to Johnny. That's very interesting. I'm glad you brought it up because I was just like, clearly that was a typo. But yeah, shinnied means the same thing as shimmy. In the crowd, who here would say shimmy with an M? Who here would say shinny with N's? Ooh, not as popular. I was wondering if it was going to be like a regional divide or like an age divide or something, but it doesn't seem to be a clear divide.
On the other hand, emo is very much a regional divide.
Do you have a retitling for chapter 33?
String theory.
Oh, similarly, I had just put, I walk into Cat's Cradle. Just because I know that it's the thing. I don't know the rules of it, but that's like the string and the thing, you do the thing, and I don't know, man. The only thing I know is that, and then that song about being a bad dad that's like, then the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Do you not know that song?
Yeah, I mean, I think you're more immersed in the world of dad content than I am right now.
Well, look, I just remember, I remember as a youngin', my dad playing that song for me, and my dad being like, do you get the moral of the story? And I was like, the kid also grew up to be crappy? And he was like, correct!
Never once have I like actually listened to the lyrics of any song enough to get the moral of the story. Life of a showgirl. I have no idea what that's going to be about.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was literally getting dunked on the TNO subreddit for not giving a good enough answer to a Taylor Swift question from the Q&A. So yeah, I wonder. It was very.
So I'm actually kind of deep in the lore, so I'm curious what the question was.
This was. The subject line of this is, would love to know other answers to the Taylor Swift songs question. I was so excited when that question came up on the live show with Eric Schneider, but then of course, neither of them are Swifties. I have tons of thoughts myself on the songs. I think this one was, what song would you do for the different couples? Because everyone was coupled up. And then, so people are doing all these things, like very profound answers. And then I wrote, how dare you? And what do you mean neither of them are Swifties? I am a mild Swiftie. And then someone replied, bro, you said I know you were trouble for Persebeth. Dead skull emoji. That song is not about a good, healthy relationship that stays together. I say this with respect and care. And I wrote, I am more of a Taylor Swift music enjoyer than a Taylor Swift find out what the songs are about her. And then in parentheses, except Jake Gyllenhaal can, all ages, write off. And Maggie better give Taylor her damn scarf back. So I know some, but not all.
So the obvious answer to that question is that Jason and Piper are the last great American dynasty.
Cool, great.
I need to think about it some more. I'll think about it during Q&A.
Cool, yeah. My big thing, and I'm very excited for The Life of a Showgirl, her
As a
new
showgirl.
album. Yeah, because I am a showgirl. No, it's because the way it was described, it seems like she's actually going for like another like bangers album as opposed to like Tortured Poets Department is like not my cup of tea, where she was like, I wrote 87 songs and they all sound the same. I'm very excited for this. I'm also really excited because Jack Antonoff is not doing the production work.
Well, that's the songs sounding the same deal.
Right, yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm not blaming Taylor. I'm just Jack Antonoff was like, what if this one also had reverb in it? Oh, yeah, good idea, me. So I'm very excited for, it's like Max whatever, the guy who did like 1989 and Red. So like 2 top-notch Taylor albums. I'm super stoked for The Life of a Showgirl. I'm very much looking forward to it. And I can reclaim my Swiftie card. But anyway, that's the end of this episode for now. If you're listening to the podcast after the fact, we'll take a break and then we'll do Q&A. So let's once again say goodbye to the podcast people. Goodbye.
Hey, Mike from the future here. Just one little break before we get into the Q&A from this live show, which was super duper fun. But I do have updates about this episode in particular, so let's talk about that really quickly. First, I have to make a clarification that after the show, Johnny and I did get Emo's Pizza and toasted raviolis. And when you've had a long day, including a podcast recording, and then all the prep that goes into a live show, and travel, oh my God, I flew in that day too. And then you do the live show, and you do all the cleaning, you get back to your hotel, and you're all set up for EnchantiCon and everything, and then you have a bunch of Emo's Pizza and toasted raviolis. The pizza hits really hard. It tasted very good after a long, exhausting day. So I would say if you're trying to improve the culinary experience of Emo's, have a really busy day and be really hungry. It makes it taste really good. Also, there are 2 points where Johnny's mom gets involved in the Q&A. The first of which, she will be called upon to say her favorite line from a Nelly song. It's a Murphy Lee line, actually, where he says, Murphy Lee ain't dumb, man. That's in the audio. I tried to make it loud to where you could maybe hear it, but in case you can't understand the lyrics, those are the lyrics. And then at the very end, Johnny will make a reference to voting for Carol for mayor. She's not actually running for mayor. This was something that was discussed in the lead up to intermission. I'll put the clip of it here, but it was basically about how Johnny's mom socializes often in general in life, but always when she comes to one of our live shows, she makes friends with everybody in the audience, and it's fantastic.
And you can also chat with my mother, who loves to chat.
Carol rules. She makes friends with people at every single show.
Yeah, her friends call it running for mayor when she just talks to people out in public.
I love it. Oh, so good. But yeah, we'll be back in like 10-ish minutes or so after a brief intermission. See you all soon.
So that's the context there. Now that you have all of the information about this episode, let's take a quick little break for some more ads, and then we'll get back into the live Q&A of this episode of The News Olympian.
But now, let's do Q&A. Woo! Oh, yeah. From Bailey. Subject line, gooey butter cake is the best St. Louis dessert. I agree. Can we get some? Is there a place that like delivers it? Or are we going to have to like go out and get it
Bought
tomorrow?
some earlier today, and I forgot to bring it, but we can have it later this weekend.
That's what you bought and forgot.
Apologies, I'm not wearing the shirt
We'll be good.
anymore.
I'll be here all weekend. Okay. Hi, Mike and Johnny. I'm a longtime listener of the pod and my first ever live show. Oh, cool. I just started my first year as an elementary music teacher this year. That rips. My question is, if all the characters had to teach a certain grade level or subject, what would they be? Thanks for putting on a great show and coming to St. Louis. Bailey. Okay, people are teachers. What are they going to teach?
Jason, AP US History.
Yeah. I mean, I guess also you could have Hazel do that as well, and then she could give like firsthand accounts.
And then the students
At
are all
least-
like, did you get Mr. Grace or Mr. Hazel? Mrs. Hazel?
Yeah, what's her? Does she have? Levesque. Yeah.
Wow.
She could at least be a guest lecturer just for Jason's class. Like when they get to the 1940s,
to the
she's
roaring,
like,
yeah,
my
yeah.
good friend Hazel. And
Yeah.
she's like, let me tell you. So she comes through. Let's see. Leo
Shop.
Yeah, home
Obviously.
ec for sure. Percy, he's the PE coach, I guess.
Wait, hang on,
I
did you
don't
say
know.
home ec?
Yeah, what?
Is shop? I don't think shop and home ec are similar.
I don't know. I've never went to a school that offered either, so I've just assumed they're the same.
No, I think home ec is like domestic stuff, like
Oh.
how cooking.
Okay, all I know about home ec is it's shop. No, it's just in like media, like when they make the lamp in the Breakfast Club and stuff. No, I don't know, man. I don't know. I never had a school ever that offered it. I would love. It should be mandatory that high schools have a class that's just like doing adult stuff, and it's
yeah.
like here's laundry, here's taxes, and all. Because I needed that. I really needed that. But let's do some other things. Piper, I mean, she could also be the music teacher because of like singing. She could be the theater professor, perhaps. She could be, what else could Piper do? Oh, she could do like speech and debate and forensics.
Debate. Yeah. Frank, probably world history, right? Because he has such like a worldly historic background.
Or biology. Come on, you get
But like second grade biology, just like the animals. Yeah.
a cow says moo.
I'll show you.
Let's see. What else? Who else? Who have we forgotten? Have we done Annabeth? I get architecture. Cool. Great. Yay. We did it. Alrighty. Let's do some more. This one is from Alex, the subject line. St. Louis rules. Straight up. Unfortunately, coming from someone who used to have to make gooey butter cake professionally, it's terrible. What a contrast. Ooh.
Okay, so I'll grant you that
Okay,
after
first and foremost, for anyone that doesn't know what it is, here or listening otherwise, describe it.
it's gooey,
God.
it's butter, and it's delicious. But
Aha, subverting.
that's right. By bite, like
Wait, describe the cake.
I don't know how it's like so rich and gooey and
Okay,
not gonna do it again.
it is gooey butter cake.
No, it's like a blondie that's not quite done cooking, I guess. But by like the 7th or the 8th bite, the diminishing returns are real. Like you can only have so many bites of gooey butter cake in one sitting without it starting to be a little miserable.
I think that makes sense. So the question is, anyway, what's been your favorite part of the Mark of Athena thus far? So I guess for you, your favorite of like up to what we've read to, I think it might be the whole sinking of Chrysaor's ship was really good. Like that was really fun. Either that or I did love the underwater adventure with Aphros and Bythos. I thought that was very fun with like Aphros being the big scary dude and he's like, I make brownies and I teach people home ec. So that might be my two things that come to mind. What about you?
I found the Charleston scene really intense when they found out the Romans were chasing them. And I'm really just being careful because I have not a perfect memory of what's already happened and what hasn't.
Fine. We'll move it on. Welcome to Missouri. Hi, Shubes. This is from Michaela. Hi, Shubes. Recently, a new dating sim game came out called Date Everything. I have seen the trailers for Date Everything, where you date household objects. My question is, what household objects would each of the 7 be? Okay.
So wait.
But we have to answer what I thought the question was going to be, which was, which household object would you date?
When it says date everything, does it mean like give a year?
So it is a
like
game.
Date.
Where's Michaela in the crowd? Okay, correct me if I'm wrong, but it is a game where you find like a magical pair of glasses, and then in the game you like move around and then you stare at something, and if you stare at it long enough, it becomes like an anthropomorphized human version of whatever it is. So yeah, if you were staring at the mic stand, it would maybe turn into like a tall, skinny person wearing like a black dress or something like that. Or you would stare at this table and it would be someone wearing like a blue coat with brown slacks or something like
Or if
that.
you stared at this brush, it would turn into someone wearing a pug shirt with slick back hair.
Just Mike Schubert. But yeah, and then you like can like dating sim with the stuff, and there's just like all the stuff now, so you can date everything. It looks very fun and very silly.
So not assign a year, but like date, like go on a date.
I don't know the gameplay of it, but I saw like the teaser trailer.
So you don't say like this is a 1966 Hoover vacuum. I get it now.
Yeah.
I
But
think.
it becomes a person. And I think it's made by the same people who made Overcooked. Yeah, because I think I stumbled upon it because Kelly's obsessed with Overcooked. She's always like, are they making Overcooked 3? And I was like, no, they've been making other games. And then I saw this and I was like, they're making this. She was like, I don't like that as much. And I was like, this sounds amazing. What are you talking about? So, first question, what household object would you date? If we're talking about the one I spend the most time with, it's the stove. So I'd probably date the stove. We have a pretty intimate relationship.
I would date the dishwasher. I would be lost without her.
Ah, but of course. Okay, now, what household objects would each of the 7 be? Percy Jackson is going to be...
The bucket that the mop goes in.
I mean, could he be... He could be the ice maker because water runs through him and he has magical abilities that turns it into ice.
That's good.
Annabeth, I think, would have to be something like the stove or the oven that's just like very like reliable and useful and profound.
Leo, tool bench, easy.
Okay, yeah.
That's a household object,
That's a household
right? Yeah.
object. That's a household object. Right. I was only thinking kitchen, but we can escape the kitchen and go to other places. Piper would be the karaoke machine. No, Piper would be the mirror, because not only is it like the looks and the Aphrodite of it all, but also like when you got to like psych yourself up and talk yourself in, like, you can do this. Like, that's the mirror. Hazel would be the... the telephone where it's like you have to
the rotary
but it's
phone?
the thing. No, not even that. The one where it's like there's the separate speaking thing on the wall, and it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
like, hello, no, put it to your mouth, into your ear. Let's see, Frank. What is Frank? The fireplace.
Yeah. Oof. Poor guy.
Jason. The TV. The couch. No, the couch.
No, the grill.
The grill. The grill. The grill. Is that
And we would
everybody?
be remiss to not mention Clovis as the pillow.
Yeah, the bed, the pillow. Yeah, that's great. That was fun. All right, let's see. This one is from Elizabeth, St. Louis live show. Clementine slaps. It does. And they sponsored the last show, and I reached out to them about sponsoring the show, and they did not reply.
No free ads.
No free ads. Yeah. Oh, should I delete this from? No, that's fine. Hi, Meg and Johnny. Since the initial series is told only from Percy's perspective, what is one scene from the initial series that you would have been interested to hear told from another character's perspective, and whose perspective would it be? Thanks for a great show. Enjoy St. Louis. Sincerely, Elizabeth. That's a fun one. So from the original first 5 books, we got to do a scene that is narrated by someone else.
I would want to do the scene where they see Pan from Pan's perspective, because he has been waiting so freaking long. He's just like, get here already.
Like, my instinct is something that Percy, like, maybe one of the times he did a fight and it was like, it was happening so quickly I couldn't realize what was going on. So then you have someone describing it. So I don't know if there's like one particular fight where he was like, it was all a blur, and then it would be fun to see someone else doing it.
So I figured out a better answer than mine, and this is
Cool.
very obvious to me now, is all of book 2 from Grover's perspective, having to dress up in the bride's outfit.
Yeah, that would be really good. I also think there's some characters who are around so much that you can like kind of get the vibe of them, even though they weren't the narrators. Like, I feel like I had a good read on Grover, a good read on Annabeth, pretty good read on Tyson. I still feel like I could have got a better read on Thalia. So I feel like Thalia narrating something would be fun. So I'm just going to default to the awkward middle school dance scene from Thalia's perspective. I think that would be great. One of my favorite scenes. Get a little more Thalia action. I think that'd be a
You'll at
whole
least
lot
get to
of
see
fun.
it from a third-party perspective soon.
I'm so excited. All right, this one is from Teresa. Hi, Meg and Johnny. My name is Teresa. First-time live listener, long-time podcast listener. Thanks for doing the show. I love it. My question is, you've talked a lot about Rome today and mentioned Paris and Zurich. Which European city would you choose next for a live show, and why? And why should it definitely be Vienna in Austria? I love your podcasts. Meg and Johnny, your facial expressions are hilarious. Oh, that's great. Thank you. Okay. I mean, Vienna is definitely high on the list because it's definitely up in the tier of would warrant a live show, but just missed the cut of Torp. But my answer is, if I'm going for like cities that I've been to that would be so fun, Prague. Johnny and I have talked about our Prague adventure many a time across this show and Potterhouse and all that. And I just have such a soft spot for Prague because our trip there was wild and it was so much fun. And the added bonus is the Bartovas, who were on the episode that just came out recently, they are Czech. And I know that if I did a show in Prague, they would come and show me around Prague. And it would be so fun to have the exact opposite, where Johnny and I intentionally didn't look up anything about Prague and just scrounged our way through the city, just doing whatever looked and sounded cool. But if we had the flip trip, where it was 2 people who are Czech being like, here is the expert guide to Prague, I think it would be very fun. So that would be my answer. What about you? If you had to do if you had to join me for a live show in Europe, where would you want it to be?
I mean, yeah, it'd definitely be Prague, because I want to see that woman who walked up to us in the middle of the night smelling like rubbing alcohol, gave us a bottle of champagne and said, "It's a gift for you."
It's a gift for you. Ugh. All right, this one is from Devin. Who do you think of the demigod crew would be the best at solving a Rubik's Cube? Annabeth, Leo, or someone else? Ooh. I would think Leo, because Annabeth would be like, this is not worth my time. Whereas Leo would be like, this is how I will impress women.
I feel like Leo would just like take it apart and then put it back together all solved.
Punch it. And
Yeah.
Similar question, but if the 8 people on the ship, including Coach Hedge, played in a chess tournament, who do you think would win? I would feel like Annabeth. Do you have a different answer?
It's definitely Annabeth, but also me.
Oh, this one's from Emma. Provel cheese is criminal.
Next one. Just
Yeah, hi, Mike. 2 longtime listeners at our first ever live show. We're so excited to be here. 2 questions. 1, which actors do you think would work as modern day Rhea, Sylvia, and Tiberinus? Ooh, modern day. It's hard because, like, I hope rom-coms like come back more into the action. So I will say this is like modern, but not as modern. But like, dude, give me Clooney and Julia Roberts in anything. Them in Ocean's 11 was great. Similarly, Richard Gere and Julia Roberts, fantastic. Pretty Woman, Runaway Bride, like, yeah.
give me Paul Atreides and Chani vibes.
Ooh,
Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya.
great.
Zendaya?
Cool.
Yeah, those two.
Great. I love it. 2, now that Taylor Swift has announced TS12 and we have 12 Olympians, can you assign an album to each god/goddess? Or can you assign an album to each of our main 7? Olympians if you need, nope. Album vibes for you if you need, yes. Okay.
Aries, red.
Let's go. Look. That's pretty good. Hard hitting? Yeah, cool. Okay. Let's try to go Taylor Swift, country, young love, figuring out the world, diaries, entries of a teen, blue/green/teal. Who's going to be for the first one?
See, I'm reading Trials of Apollo, and that's giving kind of Apollo-y.
Okay. I'll go with you. Fearless, teenage love, romantic, nostalgic, yellow. Aphrodite? Okay. Speak now, first breakups, people being mean, growing up, purple.
Artemis.
Hades? Oh,
No, I have thoughts for Hades.
Wait,
We need to
no,
save
Artemis
Hades.
has to be Evermore.
Oh.
Or folklore.
Yeah,
One of them, like, what's-
right, 'cause she's very,
So I feel like Hades, if it's like the
No,
first, you have a
Hades has
better
got to be
Hades one?
Reputation.
Then who is? Oh, you're right. You're so right. Who break up then?
Hephaestus, because he and Aphrodite.
Yeah, great, good. Okay, Red, we did Aries.
Aries.
1989, Pop Zeus, yeah. Reputation, Hades. Lover, Colorful Whimsy, Love Pastels.
Poseidon?
No, that's not. Or who did we say was 1989?
Zeus.
That is good. Let's potentially say Lover is Poseidon, but we'll keep going. Folklore has got to be Artemis.
And then Evermore Demeter.
Yes, Evermore Demeter. Midnights. Oh, reflective. Late nights, moody, dark blue.
I don't remember.
Hera? Because I can't think of anything else. Or is that?
Oh, no, Hera's lover.
Hera is Lover?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because she's like,
Okay. So then Midnight's Poseidon, and then Tortured Poet Department's Hestia? And then Life of a Showgirl? Who's left?
me. No.
Who's left? Athena?
Oh, Athena could be Midnight's.
Okay. And then who did we say was Midnight's?
I don't remember.
Poseidon? So Poseidon, Life
so
of a Showgirl?
many
Pop,
gods.
vibrant, upbeat, makes you want to dance? Sure. Cool. We did it. Oh. P.S. Since Taylor is doing podcast now, Taylor, come on the pod.
It said PS and not TS. Come on.
PPS. I dogs had this weekend and walked
TTS.
by, Schubert Street, and they spelled it right with the C.
Is that in
Ooh.
Kirkwood? Schubert? Yeah, there's a Schubert in Kirkwood.
We gotta go. We gotta take a picture.
sure.
They spell it right. That's great. Unlike some people in emails. It's not that hard to remember the C.
They do SHU, yeah.
It's literally in the logo of the podcast, and all of my handles are at Shub17 with a C in it, and my email is Mike at Shubs, and then sometimes when people will be like, hi, Shubs. No. All right.
Frohlichstein. It's not that hard, people.
It's honestly not, because, like, how else would you spell it other than the way it is spelled?
You'd be surprised.
I would be. I don't know. Anyway, this one is from Jamie. Newbie to Missouri food. 1, where do I get these toasted ravioli you've talked about?
Emos.
2, will you be singing and dancing at Enchanticon, but also which activities will you be a part of? Right. I need to, like, post what I'm doing soon, but I've been busy with child. But I will be...
child?
with the child, but no. I will be doing cosplay karaoke. I'm hosting it at 12:30 on Friday. I will be singing Nelly's Hot in Here because St. Louis. I looked up, I was like, oh, I should do someone from St. Louis. And I was like, oh, Chingy. And then I looked up the lyrics to Right There, and I was like, And then I was like, Jaquan. And then I looked up the lyrics to Tipsy, and I was like, And then I was like,
Neither of them
Nelly.
are-
And then
yeah.
I looked up the lyrics to Ride With Me, and I was like, And then I was like, Hot in Here was so popular that even though it is all about removing your clothes, it's weirdly not as risque as some of the other Nelly songs I could have picked. Because like I wanted to do Ride With Me, but like the chorus is like, I'm smoking weed in my Mercedes. And I was like, at the all ages convention, I don't know. I got approval from Enchanticon to sing Hot in Here. So I'm doing that.
Hey, Mom, what's your favorite Nelly line from Air Force One?
Hey! I did consider Shake Your Tail Feather, but I was like, Diddy's on this song. Uh-oh. Alrighty. So, cosplay karaoke from 12:30 to 1:30. Doing the interview with the people from The Magicians from 2:30 to 3:30. I've never seen that show, unsurprisingly. Okay, cool. And then I'm doing 3 things on Saturday. I'm the Taskmaster for Enchanticon Taskmaster. TNO Live's at 3:45. I'm also on the Evolution of Fandom panel. And then on Sunday, TNO Live also, and that one is at 11:15. So come through, see me. I'm doing stuff. Woo! This one's from Brenda. What would be the different characters' favorite Dr. Seuss books? I think Percy would like Green Eggs and Ham because he's appreciative of eating weird colored foods.
Yeah, that's good.
And then Grover obviously would love the Lorax because of the environmentalness of it. Any other thoughts while I try to see if there's any like other like last minute questions we can do?
Jason, Cat in the Hat, obviously.
Oh,
quintessential.
because it's just the classic one. Yeah. Okay, this one is like very thorough, and you're gonna love it. So let's do it. This one is from. Is it Katie Lynn or Kate or is it Caitlin? Caitlin, just spelled the most interesting way I've ever seen. Okay, cool. All right. Katelynne. So, look, that's a cool way of spelling it. All right, the subject line is, we love emos, basketball, and ultimate frisbee, and hate Chicago. So I like that the subject line is pandering to Mike and Johnny. Hi, Mike. I'm Caitlin. I'm from the St. Louis area and love emos, especially their toasted wraps. Also, as someone from the Illinois side, hate Chicago. You can skip to the bolded questions below if you want for time purposes. Yeah, we got to get out of here. So, if the 2 camps made an ultimate frisbee team, what's your Camp Half-Blood / Camp Jupiter O-line? 3 handlers, 4 cutters. O-line is the offensive line who is expected to score most of the time.
So my first reaction is Leo is going absolutely nowhere near the O-line because the O-line is about precision and consistency and playing boring, and that's not what Leo would do.
Okay.
Obviously, Jason is center handler.
Well, I thought it would be like the Apollo people since it's more of the like it's effectively archery. So you would want like Michael Yu and you know.
I'm getting there. Michael Yu or Will Solace as one of them. Annabeth is definitely a handler. She's very like clean and precise.
Strategic.
Percy, probably a cutter on the O-line. Frank, for sure.
Frank definitely get touchdown.
Yeah, well,
boy.
because he could just turn into a giraffe and catch it with his mouth.
Or turn into a bird and just like
Yeah.
fly. Yeah. Nigo, any thoughts?
Nico kind of has D-line energy. There's like 5 people listening to this and the whole podcast that are going to get
so-
this, and they're
but the
definitely
5
going to get
people
it.
who are so
They're gonna
hyped and I love
Nico
it.
is definitely D-line energy. He's more brooding. Give me some more demigod names. Chiron as coach is perfect.
And Hedge as assistant coach.
Yeah.
Just yelling stuff. Grover?
Grover can play O.
Tyson?
D. Definitely playing D.
Hazel, did we say?
She can play O.
Piper?
O. Basically, if they're like chill and normal, they're on O, and if they're like nutty, they're on D.
Great. I love it. Okay, maybe we should do one that is a little more...
Someone said, I love Carol.
Oh, great. Okay, this one's from Christina. I love Carol. Hi, Mike and Johnny. I spent all of intermission chatting with Johnny's mom, and I totally let her kill me for a murder mystery party. If the 7 were to have one, how do you think it would go? If this was already asked, my husband Sean, who has no clue what's going on, wants to ask Johnny, how do you feel about the fact that Alec Burleson will hit a 2-run home run on Saturday, yet the Cardinals will still lose despite the Friday win?
We can't. The Rockies have shut out a team 2 times this year, and it was the Cardinals both times. That's all I have to say. Devastating.
Okay. So, if the 7 were to have a murder mystery party, how would it go? Who would be the one to organize it? Annabeth? Yeah, Annabeth would have the one to organize it, so it would be very thorough. She would, in this sense, she hosts and then everyone else is trying to figure out like who's doing it. So she's out of contention. Who's going to be good?
Piper's wearing the like red dress with feather boa, like kind
Oh,
of.
yeah. She's looking great. Jason, I don't know that he would be good at it, but I think he would have fun. He would fall for all of the like classic, like easy sort of things. I think
Definitely the butler.
Yeah, Leo would get super into it as well. I think he'd be like really into like the evidence of it all.
Yes.
He'd be like really going around like that. I think Piper would definitely be trying to like talk and like figure out like from the vibes, like use conversations to her advantage of like who sounded weird in my line of questioning. And then,
Chiron would continue to delay the the party.
he's got to be helping
Right.
Annabeth do all of it. Yeah. And
Anytime
orchestrating
someone
all the things.
comes too close to revealing something,
Yeah.
he cuts them off.
Okay, and then the final question: who do we think wins? Like, who would solve the case first?
Our guy, Percy?
Percy? I don't know. I'm trying to think of like who in the books, like, was there anyone who like solved something that wasn't honestly Nico? I think Nico, there's so many times where he like figures out like really big picture stuff and he knows stuff that people don't. So, and like creepy, moody emo vibes. Yeah, he's totally got it. Nico D'Angelo for
And
sure.
Percy didn't figure out that Luke was evil until he literally set a scorpion on him.
Totally, yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, that is our show. Thank you so much. Give yourselves a round of applause for being such a wonderful crowd. Give it up to Johnny for being an incredible guest. Give it up to Olivia for running the merch table. Give it up to Justin and the whole team here for handling everything. Everyone here at Off Broadway, especially because they had to like last minute take on the show because the original venue got shut down. So give the team at Off Broadway a round of applause as well. And shout out to Kelly for watching the baby, especially because she's watching it while I'm at this show, while I'm at EnchanticCon, and while I'm on tour at Kansas City, Missouri. You all should come through. But give it up to Kelly for helping make all this possible as well.
Vote Carol. Vote Carol in the next
in the
mayoral
upcoming
election.
Please vote Carol. Please do. But yes, thank you all so much. This was an absolute blast. I hope to return to St. Louis for future shows. And until then, I'll... Thanks so much for coming out, everybody! Woohoo!
Hey, thanks for listening to this episode of The Noose Olympian. This podcast is created, hosted, and produced by me, Mike Schubert. I also run the social media and the website. Our editor is Sherry Guo. The music is by Bettina Campamanes and Brendan Krugel, and the art is by Jessica E. Boyd. If you can't get enough of the show, you can go to thenooseolympian.com/Patreon for bonus episodes, bonus content, ad-free episodes, a whole bunch of fun stuff. If you want to interact with the community around the show, you can check out the Discord, which is available to all patrons, or we're on social media. We're at Noose Olympian on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Twitter. And we've got a subreddit, reddit.com/r/thenewest You can also show your love for TNO by getting TNO merch at thenewsolympian.com/merch. Of course, want to give a huge shout out to our producer level patrons, Kelsey Gillespie, Vicky Garcia, Frida Vikstrom, Megan Moon, Polly Burge, Nikki Harris, Tatiana Schmidt, Sandra Rose, Josh Sayer, Sam Ruby, Mrs. O'Leary, Milo Kim, Sandkopf, Rayla Matthews, Sky Mallory, Mick Walters, Grace, Ginger Spursboy, Bradimus Prime, Skylar Sisters, Scott Sheldon, Ann M. Thayer Cohen, Bella, Percy Jacked Son, Kit Kat Crumbs, Jim Jam Koopy, Andrea, not Andrea, Jordan Ray, Nico's Black, Vespa, Zayden Wintergate, and Terry Rothfuss. If you want to support the show in a non-monetary way, word of mouth is essential for podcast growth. You can tell a friend directly, say, hey, there's this Percy Jackson podcast I think you would like, check it out. You could leave a rating and review on whatever podcasting app you're using, or you could just talk about the show on social media. All these things really do help. I really appreciate anyone who has done so in the past, and I appreciate anyone who will do so in the future. But I'm just so thankful that you tuned into this episode, and I hope you tune into our next episode, where we'll be joined live in Kansas City, Missouri by Michael Halls to break down chapters 34 through 36 of The Mark of Athena. But until then, I'll see you later. Hey, how's it going? It's me, Asa Marvick. So here in the Shubio, I have like a notepad thing someone sent me once, and it's, just like a stationary kind of thing, but it's Hermes overnight service packing slips, and I use them to take notes and stuff. I was using them recently to take notes during a D&D campaign episode of 20 to Midnight. I'm going to like rifle through, and that'll be the Asa Marvick segment. Get a little wobble. Thank you so much for listening.